Hey there, this is Gerald Cigar Street. Now, I was recently shopping on Cigar Bid and I came across this really nice sampler pack from the Brickhouse Cigars. So within the sampler, there's basically 4 cigars. There's 3 of the naturals at different vitolas and 1 of the Mighty Mighty Maduros. Now, which cigar are we smoking this evening? We're going to go with Maduro. Feels like one of those kind of nights. So let me cut this guy up and let's see what it's all about. Now, Brickhouse is one of those cigar brands that has a reputation for putting out great tasting cigars at value prices, and I'm pretty sure I've had the natural over the years. However, I don't ever recall having the Maduro, so that's probably the main reason why I gravitated towards this particular stick. Now, the first thing you notice when you take this guy out of the wrapper is the smell. It has a very strong barnyard hay type of smell that just kind of punches you in the face. It's a pretty good smelling cigar. Now, the draw on this guy, the draw on the guy is actually perfect. It's not too loose, not too tight. It's just right there where I like it. And the flavors, there's not a whole lot of flavors I'm picking up. There's a little bit of a bitter leather with some light tobacco notes, but for the most part, it's just kind of an airy taste. So let's light this guy up and see how the flavors change. Okay, right off the bat, what I pick up is this really rich, thick tobacco notes that just kind of engulf my entire mouth. And then what rests on the tip of my tongue and my lips is that bitter leather taste that I picked up on the wrapper in the pre-light draw. So we're off to a pretty good start. I'll keep working on it and we'll see how this guy changes. Okay, a few puffs into the cigar and those rich, thick tobacco notes have mellowed out some. It's more of a smooth tobacco now. And what's kind of in the finish is what's in the finish is actually just a light pepper. It's nothing that's too intense. It doesn't assault the sinuses until you do a retrohale. Now, in the retrohale, it's quite a bit stronger. I do pick up a lot more pepper. It kind of scrapes through the sinuses for a quick moment. Actually kind of lingers in there for a little bit as well. But that's kind of the predominant taste I pick up in the retrohale. Other than that, when you're drawing on the cigar, it's just this really rich, smooth tobacco taste that kind of fills your mouth. So really off to a good start with this stick. Now, a little bit about this stick. I mean, the construction wise, this cigar is pretty good. It's got a nice pack to it. There was a few soft spots I picked up in the pre-lit draw. Still feel a few here, especially right here above the band. There's a little bit of a spongy spot here and there. But it's just a really rich, good-looking cigar, as most Maduros are, in my opinion. I mean, the band on this thing's beautiful. It's got an elegant-looking band with the words Brickhouse stamped across it that just kind of jump out at you. The wrapper has this rich, dark brown, textured look to it. You know, mine has quite a few veins and all that, but overall, it's just really a beautiful-looking cigar. So, really impressed with this stick. I mean, we're off to a good start. Like I said, it's just smooth tobaccos at this point with a slight bit of pepper in the finish, but it's just a very enjoyable cigar at this point. So I'm going to keep working on it, and I'll come back with an update at the end of the first third. Alright, I'm through the first third, and for the most part, the flavors have been pretty consistent from my last update. It's just mainly that smooth tobacco notes. However, that black pepper I was picking up earlier has disappeared. I'm not picking it up at all. I do pick up every now and then, there's a hint of sweetness, and in the retrohale, there's a spice, and it's less intense than the spice that I picked up in the first retrohale, because that black pepper's missing. It does scrape the sinuses a little bit, but it's a lot more muted now. Now, there is also a hint of sweetness in the cigar, but it's pretty few and far between, and I do at times taste a little bit of that slightly bitter leather taste on the wrapper. So overall, it's just an easy, one-dimensional cigar, I'd say, at this point. Now, construction-wise, as you can see, the burn here is pretty crooked. I'm going to have to correct it here in a minute, and the ash is leaning pretty heavily to one side, so I'm going to knock that off too, otherwise I'm going to end up wearing it. But overall, it's just an enjoyable smoke. It's pretty easy smoke, one-dimensional for the most part, but it does taste good. The flavors are very smooth. It's just nothing special at this point. So I'll keep working on it, and we'll see what changes in the second third. Alright, I'm close enough to the end of the second third to go ahead and give an update on this stick. So there's some flavor changes in the second third. For the most part, it's still those smooth tobacco notes. However, there's also a mild coffee that kind of gets interjected into the smoke. Now, the retrohale, I do pick up more of that coffee now, but it's also still the spice. It seems like the retrohale, as I progress through the stick, it becomes a little milder and a little milder. Now, it does kind of punch the sinuses still a little bit, but nothing like I was experiencing before. But overall, I would say that the flavors in this section of stick aren't as enjoyable as the first third. The coffee notes are just kind of heavy. They just kind of sit on the tongue. They are mild, but it's just something about the flavor that, for my palate, just doesn't really agree with it. Not as much as this smooth tobacco notes. So it's still kind of a one-dimensional cigar, except for the coffee, but at the same time, it's not as enjoyable as it was before, but it is an okay stick. I'll go ahead and take it down as far as I can, and then I'll wrap up this review. Okay, I think I'm done with this stick. For the most part, the final third was pretty consistent with the first 2/3 of the cigar. It was a mixture of the coffee notes with those tobacco notes, that smooth tobacco notes that kind of interjected into the smoke. For the most part, it was just a okay cigar. It didn't wow me. It didn't blow me away or anything like that. It was just okay. And actually, once I got in the second third, I think I just kind of got tired of the flavors of the cigar. It was nothing that changed enough to keep my attention. It was okay. I would recommend it if you want to try something new, but for the most part, it's just not anything that's going to be memorable for me. And for the biggest issue that I had with this cigar was construction. Right at the end of the second third, the smoke output completely dropped off. Ended up having to relight it. I've had to touch up the burn a few times. The burn's actually holding on okay right now. The smoke output's pretty decent as well. But for the most part, it was, like I said, just an okay, non-memorable stick. I'd say give it a try. Curious to see, if you have tried this, what you think of it. If your experience is different than mine, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of this cigar. And if you like this review, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next review.